correct. All right. Hello, hello, hello. This is Harold Zawaski. Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, and I am in conference room 1, and we are beginning the BAA Fairfield hearing session for this day. So, Mr. Ansel, just to point out, I am a member of the Fairfield Board of Assessment Appeals. We are volunteers.
Okay.
And we are acting somewhat like advocates for our fellow taxpayers.
Nice.
As volunteers to hear your appeals in this hearing session.
Okay.
And it is being recorded because of regulations related to COVID, state statutes, and executive orders. And so we are recording this for the town record, but it's also available to be heard by the public in real time. So I just wanted to make you aware. And we are beginning this session at 9 o'clock a.m., right on time.
Absolutely.
So just want to verify some information before we get started. This is appeal number 31.
Yep.
The property address is 97 Godfrey Road.
Correct.
The owner is Nicholas and Dorothy Ansel.
Yes.
The town has your property valued at $549,200, and you are seeking a reduction to what you believe the market value of your home as of October 1st, 2020 should be $492,723.
Correct.
Today, as I said, is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. 9 a.m. is our hearing time in room 1, and my name is Harold Zawaski, and the owner is present. And so I would like at this point, Mr. Ansel, to swear you in, and then you can sign the paper that was given to you to indicate your presence and also that you've been sworn in. So let me read this. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. So please sign for your appearance and also that you've been sworn in.
Here it is. Properly signed.
Thank you. So this is your opportunity, Mr. Ansel, to provide testimony as to why you believe the market value of your home on October 1st, 2020 should be reduced to $492,723 from the amount that the town values your property at, which is $549,200. Please proceed.
Absolutely. So thank you for receiving me and hearing me. So here's the reason why we are appealing this assessment today. Two reasons. The reason number one is the comparable sales in the same location from 2016 to December 15, 2020. So what we've been doing is using the Vision Government Solution application and researched all houses sold between $400,000 and $900,000 with a square footage that is between 1,800 and 2,100 square feet to be comparable to the current tax records. And the land is between 0.4 and 0.6 acres, again, to be comparable to what is stated in the tax records. We found about 15, let's say shy of 20 houses that sold at this period of time. We wanted to make sure that we would have all the relevant sales data, including the 2020 data, knowing that 2020 was a very high year for sales. So we wanted to have a fair calculation. We ended up with an average sale price for these houses, again from 2016, which is probably the date of the last assessment, until December 15, 2020, of $484,000. And I will give you, I'm not going to go into details with the cents. The living area in average was 1928 square feet, which is close to what's in the tax records for our house. I think it's 1940 or 1980. I don't remember exactly. The land area, same thing, was plus or minus 10% of what we have. And when you do the calculation of average square footage and reported to sales price, the dollar per square feet ends up being $250.88. This is what we used to recalculate the evaluation of our house, which is precisely 1964 square feet as indicated in my worksheet. That would make the house, the valuation, at $492,722.65. So that's the first calculation, which is purely related to the existing data, without taking any into account any, let's say, improvement of the house or things like this. And I must say, even if we take good care of it, it's been tenant occupied since 2010, I think. Therefore, I know for a fact that the house is not in the best shape. We even have planned to redo the roof very soon because it needs it. So that's the first approach. The second approach is
excuse me,
sure.
You are saying this property that you own is currently being used as a rental property?
Absolutely. We bought it as our first house when coming to the U.S. in 2008.
Yes.
We lived there from 2008 to 2010. Tried to sell it, could not sell it, so we kept it.
And you began renting when? Approximately when?
In 2010.
So for the last 11 years, it's been a rental property. Approximately 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And can you share with me what the rent is? It's not.
Right now, it's about $4,000. Yeah, it was very easy to rent, but very difficult to sell.
And you had it listed for sales at some point?
We got it listed for sale in 2010, absolutely, and it never went through.
Okay. You began to tell me about a second point.
The second point is about the outbuildings. Part of the assessment is also taking into account three things in the outbuildings: a shed frame, a generator, and a patio. The shed is valued at $1,500, which is more or less what we pay new, and that's okay. I'm not going to argue about the value of the shed. The generator is valued at $15,000, and we have a problem with that. We put a permit to get this generator installed in 2012, and we paid all in $4,000 for this generator, which is almost 25% of the assessed value of the generator in the outbuildings.
Excuse me, but I'm looking at...
It's in the outbuildings.
I'm looking at the property card.
Yep.
For 97 Godfrey Road.
Yep.
I do not see a mention of a generator. I do see an outbuilding.
Yes, it's part of the vision calculation.
But on the vision card, there's no mention of the generator. It's only for the outbuilding itself, which has an assessed value of $12,110.
This is not what I found. I'm sorry. I found a different number in vision, so it may have changed since then. And I can give you the detail. What I have today in the outbuildings is $1,500 for the shed, $15,000 for the generator, and $800 for the patio, which would be a total of $17,300.
Let me see if I have that information in what you provided. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that we are taking everything into consideration for you. Shed, frame, and generator.
There you go.
Okay. I do see that. Can I ask, sir, when might you have produced this document that you shared with us? Because perhaps
Absolutely.
It has been updated since then.
Most likely. So I presented it twice.
Yes.
One in December during the pre-hearing.
Yes.
Which was most likely around I would say the week of the 15th of December.
Did you receive a notification of a reduction as a result of your pre-hearing?
Oh, I didn't receive anything. I had a call with somebody over the phone that was very nice.
Yes.
So I gave the information. I also sent the information back then by email to make sure that the person that would hear me out would have all the elements. Okay.
I do see that there was a reduction of approximately, I'd say 1,100, reduction from, no, I take that back. Okay.
No problem.
I don't see.
Then I received another document telling me that I had to register for the hearing and that I should add any documents with it. So I did send the vision calculation. I may have forgotten to put the outbuildings that is here in the second document, thinking that it was already there. And the second document I have, I can give you the copy if you'd like.
I will take it.
All right. So this is just to confirm that the cost of the generator was $4,100. Sorry, $3,859. $3,859. And not even close to 15,000.
Yes, of course.
Right. So here it is.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And that's about it.
I'm taking some notes.
Sure.
All right. Anything else you wish to add?
That's it.
All right.
I hope I did the things and the calculation right.
The only thing I would comment about that, sir, if you don't mind me saying, is that it is more compelling to look at comps that are closer to the October 1st 2020 evaluation date, with market conditions changing all the time and revaluation calculations taking place. I would say that if we look at your chart of the vision documents that you provided, the 120 Coach Lane, which has a sales price of 11, 12, 19, and then looks like it was sold again on 4/1/2020.
Yep. It's valued at 440,000. Yes, correct.
Is in that time frame, and the 430 Lucille Street North.
Yep.
Is also in the time frame with a sale of 10/15/2020. The others being
older,
4 years or so older. It's hard to compare them to the price, the value of your home.
I do agree.
October 1st.
I do agree with you.
So we will look at all of the information, including your testimony regarding the shed and the generator, and get clarification of that so that we can come up with a proper decision.
I'm with you there. I just wanted to point out two things regarding this decision to go from 2016 to 2020. Reason number one is that 2020 only has 2 properties that are equivalent.
Yes.
And 2 may not be enough from a statistical standpoint.
Yes.
And the second reason is, it is my understanding that the assessment is based on it's every 5 years. So what happened during the 5 years? And that was my way of thinking when I say, okay, let's take everything that happened during the last 5 years, making sure that you take into account also the latest and greatest. So if the prices went up, so be it. This is the market.
I understand. Is there anything else you wish me to add to your file?
Thank you for taking the time again. Thank you for your time volunteering. I appreciate that, really.
So let me tell you what to expect next, okay? I personally will be presenting your petition, since I heard you in this hearing, to a majority of the board members at a deliberation session. It should be scheduled later this month for consideration and voting. You will be notified by mail of the board's decision within 7 days of the decision. All decisions will be made this month in March. If your appeal is denied, you can come back next year. If you are granted a reduction in whole or in part, you cannot come back for 5 years until the next reevaluation if you're granted a reduction. If you are granted a reduction, as I say, you cannot come back for 5 years. If you disagree with the board's decision, your next step would be to appeal to the state court, and information on how to do that will be included in your decision letter.
Excellent.
Right?
Thank you very much, Harold.
Thank you very much for coming in.
I wish I could shake your hand, but let's be respectful of the rules.
Yes, yes. Where in France are you from?
I came from Paris, but I was born in Lyon.
Lyon. I love Lyon.
You've been there?
I work for an organization called Education First. Maybe you've heard.
It rings a bell, yeah, absolutely.
And for 4 or 5 years, I was in charge of the group that was hosting students coming from France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and I had 2 boys from Lyon staying with me in the program. We had 50, 60 students throughout the area in private homes.
Was it related to Fairfield World?
No.
Not at all?
No.
But thanks for doing this, because when my girls were at World, they were looking for private homes to host the students. Yeah, it was so difficult.
but and we also look for volunteers being head of the program. Good day. I'm Zawaski. I'll be doing your hearing. Okay. My name is Brian. Please have a seat near the phone if you don't mind. Okay. Organized and we can get started.
Okay.
And you are Brian Discrepancies?
Correct.
Okay, let me put that down here. Brian, this session is being recorded. And our voices are being picked up by this phone in front of you.
Okay.
It's being recorded for the town's record, and also it is available in real time to be heard by the public.
Oh, okay.
Some new changes because of state regulations relative to our COVID situation.
Okay.
So we are beginning now at 9:21 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And today is March 9th. I'm going to just verify some information.
Mm-hmm.
This hearing is for appeal number 411-411.
Mm-hmm.
The address is 103 Palomar Drive.
Correct.
The owner is Brian Discrepancies.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The town has your property valued at $573,600, and you're asking for a reduction to a value of your property as of October 1st, 2020 to be $364,210. Today, as I say, is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, and we are beginning at 9:21 a.m. in room 1. My name is Zawaski, and being present is Brian Discrepancies.
Yes.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to swear you in.
Okay.
And then you can sign the documents in front of you. Brian, do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment of appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
That's great. Then please sign the paper for your appearance and that you've been sworn in. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brian, this is your opportunity to provide testimony as to why you believe the market value of your home on October 1st, 2020 should be reduced to $364,210 from the town's value of $573,600.
Certainly. It was simply a search that I conducted using the same tools and website that was offered to me as evidence of the existing appraisal, the vision appraisal service.
Yes.
And so up and down the street, I chose, each of my neighbors' houses. I chose 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 properties, including my own, so 9 other than my house. And as far as my neighborhood, many of the houses on my street were constructed on or around the same time, so late 1940s. Some have been renovated, as mine has, so it has, seen some upgrades in 2018, 2019, which would substantially raise said property value. So with that in mind, all I did was take all of the property values in the area and devised what the median per square footage assessment would have been, and then asked for a 9.29 reduction in the appraised value of my home.
When you say 9.29 reduction, what is that referring to?
It's referring to the assessed price of the. So I didn't do it off the market value. I did it off the assessment.
All right. So that's a 9.29%. Is that it?
Yes. Or should I say, mine would be overvalued 9.29% against the median for my neighborhood.
Do you have any sales information for those other properties?
No. Well, most recently, the house on my street most exorbitantly appraised is 120 Palomar Drive, belonging to Charles and Layla Hahn, and that most recently sold for, I believe it was $500,000. That's the house right across the street from me.
All right.
And they are, and in fact, they are the outlier of outliers for the entire street in terms of per square footage.
So 120
Palomar Drive is the most recent sale on the street, to my knowledge. And then to further add to that,
but you believe it's larger?
Oh no, it's substantially smaller.
Oh, it's smaller.
Their square footage is 1398, and our square footage is 2183, as you can see from the. Oh, here, this is much larger. It's easier to read.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Well, I do want to point out that, we are comparing properties as of the reevaluation date. So we will take into consideration those properties that you presented that are closer to that date, mm-hmm. and look at the sales data, because, again, the reassessment is based upon what the town believes your property would have had market value at, what the market value of your home would have been on or around October 1st, 2020.
Okay.
So, one thing to think about for yourself is, if you were going to put your house on the market today, let's say, mm-hmm. or as of October 1st, 2020, would you ask for $364,000 or would you ask for $400,000+? So that's, you don't have to answer that, but that's
understood.
That's what the town is considering.
And I had anticipated that response, and so I accept your response.
Thank you.
I accept your response only to the extent that your remarking concepts also remarks all the houses around me at a similar rate. In other words, if you're saying, well, I'm revaluing your house, it's going like this, why would my neighbors that are around me who have either larger houses or newer types of features not keep pace with the rise in the cost of my house? So I accept the tax increase as long as you're putting the same tax increase on everybody else.
Yes. And in your list, there's maybe one house that is close to your percentage of increase. Palomar House, substantially.
My next door neighbor. So
an outlier, if you will.
Yep.
And the others are, several of the others are lower. So I understand your point. I do understand your point.
So it would work either way. Either I would get the reduction to bring me closer to the pack, because according to the records that I pulled here, this is all finished. In other words, if no one comes and sees you, everything that's in the vision system right now is how the taxes are going to roll out, right?
That's true.
And so what that would mean is that all I'm asking for is to come backwards towards the pack, or have the entire pack pushed up in some manner to reach me.
Well, that is a very good point. And just to let you know, by state statute, we do have the ability to increase the appraised value of homes that do not come in for a hearing, an appeal. So that's something we might want to consider and look at after our normal hearing process begins, to see if your neighbor's homes have been properly assessed, and if those assessments are too low, let's say. So that's a very good point. Okay. Anything else you want me to add to the file?
No. It was really just trying to make my case for. I don't feel like I'm an extreme outlier, but I felt strongly enough that a 9 to 10% overweight the rest of my neighborhood was enough to skip a portion of my morning, at work, to come in and have a conversation over, the possibility. Because it really comes out to, for me, it might come out to a couple of $100 in tax. I mean, if you do the actual math, it's a few $100s for me, which would make a difference for us. I mean, for the town, a few $100 is a rounding error, and that's how I would look at it. Just try to play fairly in terms.
I understand what you're saying, and our role is to act as an advocate, if you will, for our fellow taxpayers in town. We're volunteers to do this, and we hold these hearings to see if there's some way that we can strike a balance and have a fairness extended to our fellow taxpayers in Fairfield. So I thank you for coming in. Can I share with you what the next steps will be?
Certainly.
Okay. I personally will be presenting your petition to a majority of the board. There are 9 members on the board, and the majority will be 5. You will be notified by mail of the board's decision within 7 days of our decision. If your appeal is granted or granted in part for a reduction, you cannot come back for 5 years because you've been until the next revaluation. If you are denied, if your appeal is denied, then you can come back next year and appeal again. And if you disagree with the decision of the board, that your next step would be to appeal to the state courts. And information on how to proceed with that will be included in your decision letter.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in. I'm sorry you had to lose some time. But
it's important.
Yes, and you've provided some good factual information for us to consider.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And please, you can leave the door open.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. have a seat.
Okay.
Mr. Seyung?
Yes.
My name is Harold Zawaski. I am one of the volunteers of the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Okay.
And this session is being recorded
All right.
on this telephone here because of COVID regulations. We are required to record for the town and also to allow other town citizens to hear our conversation in real time. So I ask you to please speak up and direct your voice to this phone because that's where the microphone is.
Okay.
Okay? And you can speak with your outside voice. All right. Let me verify some information. You are appealing. Your appeal number is 170,
Yes.
170.
Yes.
The property address is 57 J Circle,
Yes, it is.
and you are the owner, Jong
Yes.
Seng Yoon.
Mm-hmm.
The town has your property valued at $517,000, and you are asking for the town to reduce the value of your property to $320,000.
Mm-hmm.
Today is Tuesday, March 9, 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and our hearing is beginning at 9:35 a.m. in room 1, and
Yeah.
this is Harold Zawaski.
Yeah.
You are the owner of the property?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, Mr. Seyung, I'm going to ask to swear you in.
Okay.
That's okay. So, do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay.
Say
Yes.
loud.
Yes.
Thank you. So, I will ask you to please sign this that you have been sworn in. Sorry. Here. Thank you. I will take this. So this is just that you have been sworn in and that you are appearing here.
Okay.
So, Mr. Young, please explain to me why you believe the value of your home should be reduced to $320,000. And let me just clarify one thing with you on your form, because perhaps it wasn't clear. Do you recall filling out this petition?
Yeah.
Okay. What we were asking for here is what you believe the market value, what it would sell for.
That the house is condition is we need to repair.
I understand. But first,
So
I want to ask you if you have the right information here, because here there's a difference between appraised and assessed. The appraised value is what the town believes your property would sell for on the market, on the open market, as of October 1st, 2020. Okay. And then this number gets divided by 0.7, 70%, to make this number the assessed value. Taxes are done on the assessed value. So the appraised value and the assessed value are different because the assessed value is 70% of this. Okay.
I ask you, this 517,000 then meaning is some assessor come to my home and check up the price, right?
No, that's if you were going
to paper.
If you were going to sell this house.
And who make the decision, the price?
The town.
Town.
Yes.
Did you, the town, come to see my home, the condition? No, right?
No.
That problem, that outside the single siding is we have to change.
I understand.
Window change.
Let me get to that.
Change.
Yes, I will, and I want to understand that from you. But you can see that the assessed value before the revaluation, the assessed value was 323,610. That's 70% of what the town thought your value was in 2019.
Okay.
You follow?
Yes.
So now the town says your assessed value is $361,900. Difference from here to here is significant. It's almost $40,000. Yes.
Yes.
So again, and that's why you see here a number of $517,000, which should be the number that is here, not the assessed value, but this. So with your permission and approval, just to get the paper right, I'm going to put here $517,000. As the town's value, again, the appraised value, not the assessed value. So if you understand that, then this number should be not the assessed value. You shouldn't compare these numbers. You have to compare this number with what the number should be at 70% of this number, or what you think it should be.
My idea that problem is original price is a problem. This price is only the market value and the town hall idea, right?
Yes.
Not exactly the house condition price.
Correct.
That's the problem.
What I am asking you to confirm is what you think the fair market value for your house is. Do you still believe it should be $320,000 or some other? If you were going to sell your house on October 1st, 2020, what do you think the selling price, the market value, would have been on that day?
Selling price, I don't know exactly. And I follow this price and this price. And I check up my home. A lot of conditions have to change.
Yes, I'm listening.
Original 517,000, that is so high, the measure. You understand?
Yes.
They have to change the siding change, and the roof change, and the window change, flooring change, inside flooring change, and the heating, cooling system change.
Yes.
And without the my house condition and the price, they decide this price.
You disagree. I understand.
Yeah.
If I take this number that you have here.
This is a non-market price. You assess a price, right?
This should be market price because this is what the town says the market price is, $517,000.
Yes.
If I take your number here and I divide by 0.7.
No, you don't understand. This number is from here. You ready 70% this one?
Yes.
Right? This one is from here, about 40,000 is less.
Yes. So that's what I understand.
Market price maybe.
If I take your number here and I divide by 0.7, I have 457,142.
Yeah, that's all.
You agree?
Yeah, that's all.
Can I write that number here?
Yeah.
457,143.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
So I replace this number with 457,143.
Yeah.
Market value, and I replace this number with what the town value is, like that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we're comparing this to this, which is $60,000, right? 517, 457. It's about $60,000.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you make just initials over here that you agree to the number change? Only to the number change. Or you want to look? Okay.
Yeah.
You agree?
This is the market value, right?
Yes. And this is
320 is the non-market value. The 70%.
yes. This
assessed
is
number, right?
difference between assessed and appraised.
Okay.
Appraised is market value.
Okay.
Assessed is what you pay tax on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So please just make initials here that you agree. Excellent. Thank you. I just want you to understand.
And, I think that is the house condition, original foundation and material, the building material, that is not so good. It was the build 1960, I think 1963, 60, around there.
The house was built in
1963, right?
1961.
61.
And you have the house since 1997. You bought the house 1997.
Yeah.
From the bank. Okay, I understand. All right. So your main objection is the house condition.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Seyun?
Yeah.
I do not see any other information in your file.
Mm-hmm.
My recommendation, my suggestion to you is maybe you want to take pictures. Take some pictures of the condition that you are claiming, the condition issues, and email those to this office. So we can add that to your file, do it soon, maybe in 24 hours, and send to
the house condition picture, right? The roof, siding.
yeah. Take with your camera and email to BAA .fairfield.org. Oh, one second. Oh, at, the at sign. No, at like so.
Where is it? This one?
Here, like this.
Fairfield. Here is the email address. This one?
Yeah, you can send to this one too. Or this BA at Fairfield CT.
Can you look here? Here is exactly this. That's your telephone number and.
Well, the telephone number you have here.
Telephone number. Okay. Maybe this telephone number I send to my picture, send it to the message is okay? Message?
No, because
No.
this is a normal telephone number.
Okay.
You can either take pictures and take your pictures on the phone, come to the office downstairs, and show them, and they will take it from you. But
I send you the email, it's better.
yes, you send to the email. One moment. Yeah. Like so. BAA at Fairfield CT.org. Email. Good? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So
I ask the that is 517,000. That is town hall decide the fair market price, right?
yes, because they calculate on increased value of the homes, the land,
Every year
everything.
increase, right?
Every
And
5 years.
my idea is 400 something like that.
Yes.
And if you accept my price, how much you pay?
Let me explain.
Okay.
I will present your information to the board, to a majority of the board, for consideration, discussion, and voting.
Okay.
Within 7 days of the voting, you will receive a letter. In the letter, it will show that we approve the total amount, or approve a portion of the amount, or we deny.
Okay.
Don't accept, deny. If we approve, you cannot come back for 5 years until the next reevaluation.
Okay.
If we deny, then you can come back again next year. And if you do not agree with our decision, then you can go to the state courts. And information on how to do that is in the letter that you will receive.
Okay. That if you decide by idea the market price, how much is the price?
Well, like we said, if we agree to the amount that you are requesting, then that would be the numbers that we changed to 457,143.
Okay.
You want to write it down? 457,143.
457
143.
143.
And that is the amount that you are, you believe the fair market value to be.
The times 7 is assessor tax.
Times 0.7 is what you would pay taxes.
Times 0.7 is 320.
Is the 320, yes, that you would pay taxes on. Correct. You understand.
320, that is yearly the property tax, how much you get?
Pardon?
How much is
the tax? We don't know yet, because that depends on the mill rate that's going to be determined in May. We don't know yet what the actual dollar amount is. I have to do my next hearing, but thank you for coming in. If you have any more questions, you can ask the assessor's office downstairs, please.
Okay. And
Because I cannot tell you now what the taxes that you're going to pay. That depends on what the mill rate is going to be.
Mill rate,
Mill rate per thousand. Yes.
Every year different. Okay, I send now I'll go home and make a picture, I send in.
Yes, please.
So main thing is the roof, siding, and the flooring. What do you think is the best idea? Siding, flooring, roof?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That will determine the condition factors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have to come back only?
No. Send pictures. We will discuss. We will vote, and you will receive letters.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. You're Korean. Yeah, yeah.
And it's supposed to be running.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you?
Hello, gentlemen.
I'm Bill Fitzpatrick.
Mr.
Jeff
Fitzpatrick.
Dugas.
Jeff Dugas. Hi, Bill. Howard?
Harold.
Harold.
Yes.
I'll get it right when it's...
Nice to meet you, gentlemen.
Are these seats all right here?
Perfect. I'm going to just shut the door, so because we are being recorded.
I have the same thing for you.
Good.
This is the property card, and I highlighted the increase in the land.
Okay, good.
And then,
Geez, I'm so used to walking around with gloves on that I'm
We have
afraid to touch anything.
We have a warm-up today,
Yeah.
To it.
but you don't mean those kind of gloves. But let me just get you organized here.
Take your time.
Well, time is one thing that we're a little tight on.
Are you?
Yes, with 600 plus appeals this year,
That'll do it.
we're like a one-legged, one-handed soccer goalie. We use a slightly different approach.
Okay, I get it. Good. Good. And then you got one for me.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
and attached is the property record card.
Yeah.
For land.
That change in land value doesn't make sense. But I don't know the answer.
Alrighty. You gentlemen are here quite on time, so you've got full 15 minutes.
Good.
So again, let me mention that we are being recorded.
Yep.
For town records and also for the public to hear in real time. So let me just verify that we are discussing the proper appeal. This is a hearing beginning at 10 a.m. Appeal number is 407. Is that correct?
Correct.
The property is located at 1118 Cross Highway.
Correct.
The owner is the Patterson Club, Inc.
Correct.
The town has the property valued at $13,288,900, and you are appealing the amount and believe that the property's value as of October 1st, 2020 should be reduced to $9,142,400.
That's correct.
Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, and we are beginning this hearing at 10 a.m. in room number 1. My name is Harold Zawaski, and the appellant is being represented by Mr. William J. Fitzpatrick, Esquire, attorney.
That's me.
So there is no need to, as an officer of the court, to be sworn in, but if you would care to sign your appearance today, I will countersign that document.
You need to sign in, Jeff, or to swear in Jeff, Harold?
Well, if you're representing Jeff and you're here, I don't believe that's
fine.
necessary.
Good.
So, Jeff, for the record, what is your involvement in this property?
I'm a golf course appraiser consultant. I'm working for the club as a consultant.
All right. And so please use your outdoor golfing voice and speak towards this microphone.
Okay.
Clear
Clear as possible.
Clear the runway.
Okay. My background is golf consulting. So I'm an MAI. My company's based in Connecticut. I appraise about 80 golf courses a year from Maine to Florida, and I've worked on about 2,500 golf course assignments over my career. So I specialize in the appraisal and consulting and advisory services in the golf business. About 5 years ago, when the town last did reval, I worked for the club, and again, I was involved in the appraisal the last time the town did reval, and I think the most egregious thing in this current reval is the increase and the change that has been impacted on the club. And from my perspective, again, I work on about 80 appraisals a year, and so the first page I presented to you, Harold, is just a synopsis of the club so we can see what's been going on.
Thank you.
So I'm going to give you 2 handouts, Harold, if you would.
The color one is what I'm going over, just so you can follow along. And again, this goes to show what's going on at the club.
Yeah.
And you can see, again, when the reval was done in 2015, the club was charging a $75,000 initiation fee. And in 17, they had to drop that to $62,500 in order to try and attract the same number of members. And so we've seen a slowdown in golf. There's very little demand. The number of golfers and the participation in golf has been waning over the years. Obviously, we see no population growth in the Northeast. People aren't moving to Connecticut or even Fairfield County. And so the private club industry has been very, very competitive. And in order to, again, attract the same level of members and go up on their fees in order to maintain just the status quo with rising expenses, they, again, had to reduce initiation fees. And that's not uncommon for other clubs in Fairfield County. We've seen that at every turn. The other thing, obviously, that we had is the town is doing reval in the middle of COVID. And I highlighted the November 2020. So this shows, again, the reduction in revenue from the club. And unfortunately, it's come at the 2 most profitable areas. Clubs make the most money on golf outings when they charge a high rate for non-members to come and use the club.
Harold, do you have this sheet?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
I believe so.
Yeah.
He has
As long as you do, great. I wanted to make sure you had it.
Yep.
Thank you.
So you can see, Harold, where I show and the highlighted the burgundy column, the
Yes.
total number of rounds went up in 2020,
members played a lot more, but that doesn't help the revenue. Right below it, it shows the number of guest rounds went from an average year of 4,000 down to 2,700. So they lost 1,500 outing rounds, which is very profitable. And the other thing they lost was a considerate amount of revenue from weddings and functions and events. You can see the dues line dropped slightly, but the food and beverage went from about 1.9 through 11 months of 19 to 1.1 through 11 months of 2020. The number of covers dropped from about 143 down to 31. So all of the profitable weddings and outside events that the club does,
Yes.
were all lost this year, and they'll probably be lost again this year. So the problem we have is that the town considerably increased the value of the property since the last reval. Again, last time the property was valued at $9,142,000, and now they're at $13,288 at a time when the golf market has softened, and we're, as of October 20, right in the thick of COVID. So to have the property increase by 47% is just unfounded.
This is Harold. Just for my edification, are you asking us to consider your appeal based upon revenue or the market value of the property as of October 1st, 2020?
Well, revenue, it is market value, and market value is driven by revenue. So golf courses are investment properties, and they're bought based on their ability to provide a return to the investor and also to sustain debt. And so the income approach and its revenue is the primary source of method for valuing a golf course. Unfortunately, most municipalities, they use a cost approach where they take the land and add the cost of the improvements. That approach has no bearing to market value. Investors don't look at the cost approach when they're looking to buy courses, so it's strictly the income approach. And that's why when we look at the actual income from this property, it's evident of what's happening here, not only with this property, but other clubs like it in the market.
All right.
So the impact on revenue has an impact on market value.
All right. I'll have to confer with the assessor.
You want to talk about this page?
Yeah.
As to...
We have one more follow-up too, Harold.
Of course.
If I might, Harold.
Regarding that point.
Yes.
I respect you as an appraiser in this area. I am not that familiar with it, so I will have to have some discussion with our assessor as to what approach was taken in doing this calculation.
Great, I understand.
If I could just raise a couple of points, Harold.
Yes.
Number one, the increase in golf rounds, is purely a COVID boost. That's no one went on vacation last summer, and they had a lot of members had children at home who were going to work remotely, and so they played around a lot of rounds at the Patterson Club. Didn't help the revenue much, but that's a one-time boost in the number of rounds. Basically, and I'm just, piggybacking on Jeff's points, there are really 2 points that the club is trying to make. One is that we're being treated unfairly with regard to our peers. If you look at this
Harold, the second page I gave you on this,
the Golf Digest rankings at the bottom.
Do you see that page?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see Brooklawn. We have 3 private clubs in town.
Yeah. I have
you got it? Okay.
And the Patterson Club was, in 2015, valued the lowest in fair market value relative to, and the left-hand column, relative to Brooklawn and the Country Club of Fairfield. At this point, we're ranked the highest. The change, makes little sense. Connecticut Country Club of Fairfield is one of the top-ranked golf courses in the state. Brooklawn's in the top 10. Patterson is not. It's basically the
the same piece of property that it was before, but our valuation has been increased 47%. Brooklawns has been increased roughly 12%, and the Country Club of Fairfield has actually dropped. This increase really takes place without there's no new construction on site, there's no land added to the golf course. The clubhouse was constructed in 2010, it's now just 5 years older. There's just no logical explanation for this 47% increase. It appears to be arbitrary and without a factual foundation. Basically what the club is asking is that the status quo for 2015, that 9,142.4, be maintained. The club, I took the appeal only on the property north of Cross Highway. That's the 161 acres. I didn't take the property south of Cross Highway. So the appeal is the 1118 only, and we just think that the boost, as you've heard from Jeff, is unwarranted. And Jeff and I obviously would be happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
So just in summary, you are comparing the market value in 2015 on the real estate of $9,533,400 to the current, which is $15,935,000.
Actually, Harold, I'm doing just the piece to the top, the $9,142,400
to the $13,328,900.
To the $13,228,900. Correct.
$288,900.
To clarify, Harold, if I could, what you're looking at, no, the 47.3 and the $4.5 million is on. It's actually not even on the 15.9. That includes personal property.
Yes.
That increase was based on the $14,038,700 number.
Compared to which number?
Compared to the $9,533,400.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to clarify. So even though they're only appealing the top one, when you look at the overall property, they increased the overall club by $4.5 million or 47%. Yes. Where again, Brooklawn went up by $1 million and Fairfield dropped by almost $500,000. And so at a time when we think the golf market has softened, not to mention the adverse impact of COVID, that the town went up by almost 50% on this club alone, and they're not treating it consistent or equitable with the other two clubs in town. Again, particularly the other thing I'd like to point out is the reason why Country Club of Fairfield's value is so low is because they have the Public Act 490, which is the way they treat the land. So if you look,
which property is this?
The Country Club of Fairfield. If you look on that chart that I have for you,
and they have a special
Public Act 490.
So they've got a different classification.
Different classification.
Which is available to the subject, and they were achieving it last time. That's the concern that we also have. So all of the clubs are entitled to this Public Act 490. It's a farming open space classification. They're all in the same zone, the same residential zone, all three clubs. But the Country Club of Fairfield is getting the benefit of this Public Act 490. You can see that their assessment on the land is only $364,000. It's on that chart.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you look at the town records, which I also included, Harold, and highlighted,
yes,
you can see the last time the land was valued at $409,000. And when they did reval, they took it out of the Public Act 490, and now they have the land valued at $2,682,500.
So the question is, why was it taken out of the
Right,
act?
it should never be taken out.
In what year was
Once
that?
it's
That's
in,
correct.
Well, this was just within this most recent reval. So last year the land was valued at $409,000, and this year they have it valued at $2,682,000. And again, as Attorney Fitzpatrick indicated, they also went up again on the building improvements from $8,700,000 to $10,600,000. So They did away with the Public Act 490 and increased the land by $2.2 million, and then they increased the buildings by $2 million when they're only 5 years older and nothing new has happened.
That's so you're adding the commercial building and the outbuildings to get to that number of 10,000,006. Okay,
Correct.
right.
Yes. Again, I highlighted on the bottom. This is your property cards. So again, you can see where the $5 million or $4 million increase occurred. Over $2 million was the change in the land value.
Yes.
And $2 million was, again, an increase to the building improvements that isn't warranted because nothing has been done to the buildings. If anything, they've depreciated in the last 5 years.
Understood.
So we feel like that's the source of the problem, and it's magnified, again, when you look at the impact of the other clubs in town.
May I ask, is there anything else you wish to add to the file?
No.
All right, I have the documents that you've given me, and I just would ask Mr. Dugas, as an appraiser, the information that you provided seems to be a summary of an appraisal. Is there a further document appraisal that you would wish to share to me?
No, this is all I provided to the club.
So am I correct in assuming that this is a summary of your appraisal?
This is a summary of the change in value since the last reval.
Very good.
Correct.
I hope I'm asking the right
No,
questions.
it's been awesome.
All right. If there's nothing else, I would like to share with you what the next steps will be.
Please.
I personally will be presenting your petition to a majority of the board at a deliberation session for consideration and voting. You will be notified by mail of the board's decision within 7 days of the decision, and all decisions will be made in March. Even though we have 5 times the normal number, we're working through it. Your appeal will be denied. If your appeal is denied, you can come back next year. If it is approved, granted in whole or in part, you cannot come back until the next revaluation period in 5 years. Is that understood?
Okay.
If it's approved in part or in full, then you cannot come back for 5 years until the next revaluation. If it's denied, you have the right to come back next year. If you disagree with the decision of the board, your next option is to appeal to the state court. Mm-hmm. And information on how to do that will be included in your decision letter.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea, Harold, when you will likely meet and decide this?
We don't know.
Okay.
We're trying to juggle these, and there is some discussion going on as to how we might best notify the public as to approximately when the deliberation will take place, because it is open to the public in real time. And we have had such requests, but we're trying to figure out how to do that, since we're recording 25 or 30 hours each day of these recordings. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do that through technology.
If it's possible to let me know when the deliberation is taking place, if it is open to the public, I'd like to be...
The best way for us to do that is to provide a public notice through the website.
Okay.
For the entire public.
Gotcha.
You can check back on the BAA page of the Fairfield website.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Hi, Brian. Hello, Mr. Kehoe. This is Harold Zawaski from the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry for the delay in getting to you, but this time is yours. Are you prepared to discuss your appeal?
Yeah.
Excellent. So I just want to review some information that I have to make sure we're talking about the correct appeal.
Okay.
We're discussing appeal number 508. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that's 501 Brooklawn Avenue.
Yes, the address is 501 Brooklawn Avenue. You are the owner, Brian Kehoe?
Yes.
The hearing date is today, March 9th, 2021, and the hearing time is beginning at 10:22 a.m.
Okay, great.
And
So, do
there
you have all the materials I submitted?
I do, and just give me a moment to catch up on a few things.
Sure.
So, Mr. Kehoe, I'm going to swear you in.
Okay.
And so we're doing this obviously verbally, but a document will be sent to you and you will be requested to sign it to indicate your presence for this hearing and also that you've been sworn in. So, Mr. Kehoe, if I may, do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, sir. So this is your opportunity, sir, to share with us and provide testimony as to why you believe the market value of your home on October 1st, 2020 is $515,000 as opposed to the town's value of $553,600.
Okay. Yeah, great. So I bought the house on August 21st of 2020 for $515,000. And as you just said, the assessed value is as of October 1st, 2020. So if the fair market value was when I bought it of $515,000 on August 21st, then that would mean that it would be a 7.5% increase in 40 days of the property value if you were to agree that the full market value would be $553,600. So I disagree that the house grew by 7.5%, and I believe that the fair market value is $515,000. And some of the points I want to go through are the property card. There's some incorrect parts of that.
Yes.
And that. So to start there, I guess I'll just say that the property card shows that it has modern bathrooms and a modern kitchen. And I provided pictures in Appendix A, B, C, and D that show that the bathrooms and kitchens are average. And then the property card also doesn't indicate that the property is on a busy road, which Brooklawn Avenue is definitely a busy road. The second point I'll go through is the comparable home property cards. So I compared the house unit cost of 501 Brooklawn versus 406 Strathfield. And 406 Strathfield is a really nice home that's just up the road from mine. As you may know, Brooklawn Avenue and Strathfield Road are the same road.
Yes.
They just switched names. But so 406 Strathfield sold for $604,000 on November 9th of 2020. Yet it was its appraised value was $17,200 less than my home. So it sold for close to $90,000 more than mine a couple months later, but it has an appraised value that's less than mine, which I disagree with. But it's a comparable home, so I use its house unit cost that I found in his property card.
Yes.
And all I'm saying is that if I use the same house unit cost as 406 Stratfield for my home, I get an appraised value closer to $515,000.
What was the address of the house you're asking us to consider?
406 Stratfield.
Okay.
And I provided the unit costs in the appendix. So if you go to Appendix F, it shows 406 Stratfield's building sub-area summary. And I'm just arguing that the unit cost for 501 should be equal to or lesser than 406 Stratfield. And Appendix G will show the adjusted appraised building value of $180,000 for 501 Brookline using 406 Stratfield's unit costs.
Very good, sir.
So that's basically what I did there. And then I also indicate, like, I use the first floor unit costs, and I show pictures of why I think they're comparable. And I do the same for the attic finished unit cost, upper story finished unit cost, and basement unfinished costs. So I use those comparables to get my number of $515,000. And then I did the same for the land unit costs, which is a separate section of the property card, to get to the appraised value. But I used the comparable home of 469 Brooklawn Avenue because this house is 2 homes away from mine on Brooklawn Avenue and a corner lot as well. And it's basically the same size of land. So I believe that the land unit cost should be exactly the same for 501 Brooklawn as for 469 Brooklawn. And so using 469 Brooklawn's land unit costs, I adjusted the appraised land value in Appendix Q. And that gets me to around $314,000 for the unit cost. And then when you take the land unit cost adjusted and the house unit cost adjusted, you get to a total appraised value of around $511,000.
Yes.
Which is about close to what I bought it for. And I still believe the market value is $515,000 because I bought it within 2 months of when the appraisal started. So I don't think there's a much better indication of market value than actually a sale of the house.
I tend to agree with that statement. And I think you provided good information to support your case, and I have the information that you described in the file. So if I can share with you, unless there's something else you wish to add, I can share with you what the next steps are that will be taken.
Sure. I mean, the last section was just the comparable home sales, which I compared to 406 Stratfield, 238 Northwood Road, and 59 Ridgeview Avenue, and those are in the appendix as well, just showing that they're showing 501 Brooklawn versus those, and why
yes,
my value should be 515. But yes, I guess what the next steps are.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming before the board. I personally will be presenting your petition to a majority of the board at a deliberation session for consideration and voting. You will be notified by mail of the board's decision within 7 days of the decision, and all decisions will be made in March.
Okay.
If your appeal is denied, you can come back next year. If you are granted a reduction, you cannot appeal again until the next reval period in 5 years.
Okay.
If you don't agree with the board's decision, you can take the next step and appeal your decision to the court in the state of Connecticut, and instructions how to appeal to the court will be included in your decision letter.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, how will I be notified?
You will receive a letter within 7 days of the decision of the board, a majority of the board. We are 9 members, so voting is done with a quorum of 5 for a majority, and that will be done within 7 days, and you will receive a letter in March. Decisions will be made in March, so I don't know exactly when we will get to discussing your appeal, but we intend to complete all the appeal decisions in March, so a letter will go out, and you'll probably get the letter towards the end of March, or with the mails maybe during the first week of April.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
All right. Well, I thank you very much for your time, and good luck to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Please take one of these seats near the phone. One of these two over here, because we are being recorded on this phone.
Good or no?
That's fine.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're over there? Do you want me to sit over here?
If you're comfortable there, that's fine
Sure.
too, either one.
Yeah, I already had my shot.
I've had mine too.
What kind did you get?
The Pfizer. Actually, I was down in Florida earlier this year, and we were able to get them there.
Oh, wow. I got
So
the J&J, Johnson & Johnson,
good,
yesterday.
the one shot.
Yep.
How do you feel from that?
Great. I got it yesterday. So it's good.
Good for you.
Mhm.
They do seem to be catching up.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Do you have my pictures or anything?
I believe I have everything, but just to verify that we're discussing
Let me know.
the correct properties. 1 moment. Let me
You take your time. Take your time.
All right. We're starting this hearing time at 10:36 a.m. on Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. The appeal number that we're discussing is 190. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm.
The property is located at 310 Schiller Road.
No, 210.
Sorry, my mistake.
That's okay.
Yes, 210 Schiller Road.
Mm-hmm.
210 Schiller Road is the property address. The owner is Charlene Lebo. Am I pronouncing that?
Yep, Charlene
correctly?
J. Lebo. Uh-huh.
Charlene J. Lebo. The town has the property valued at $724,100. owner is requesting the amount that is higher than the town's value. So I'm going to discuss with Charlene J. Lebo the information that was put on the petition. Do you have a copy of the petition in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Your petition, this document?
Yes, I think I have it here.
It's right there.
This one?
Yes, I believe so.
Yep. Oh, yes, it is.
If you look at item number D, okay, and if you also look at the property card,
right.
I believe is included here.
Yep.
I'm looking for the Vision property card. I don't know if you had a chance to print that out.
Is this it?
There's a more detailed one.
I think I gave it to them.
Let me just check something here.
Mhm.
Let me get this clarified. Because I do see a discrepancy in the numbers
Well, I have.
that I want to clarify
Sure.
with Mrs. Lebo.
Mhm.
Now, let me just understand, well, not understand, but to share with you, in item number D on the petition, statement of value, use the appraised or market value, not assessed value. So the town has your appraised value at $724,100. The amount that you show on your petition is actually the assessed value. And we are seeking what you, we want that number to be stated as the town's appraised value. As it says, statement of value, use appraised or market value, not assessed value. So with your permission, I'm going to change that 506,870, which is actually the town's assessed value, to the appraised value of $724,100 as the town's appraised value. And then I will ask you if you wish to adjust your opinion of the fair market value that you're showing on your petition. What is the amount that you believe your property would have been sold for, or what the market value of your home would have been as of October 1st, 2020?
Okay, so as being a realtor, I am a realtor too.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize that, so I apologize.
That's quite all right. I'm not here. I'm not challenging what the house is worth. I think the 724 is correct.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I have some questions I think are being unfair to me with this value. And there's a couple things. One being there's a shed in the back, and I discovered this with the UI being behind me. And the shed was built in 1995 with old wood from old swimming pool. It does not have a concrete foundation. It's a wood foundation. And I didn't know this. Let me explain maybe a little bit too. This was my husband's family's property, and he passed away, so it's not my problem. Why am I being taxed $1,500 for a shed that does not have an old shed back there that doesn't have a concrete foundation? And maybe there's a reason for it. I don't know.
Why, as a realtor, you are a realtor.
Yes. And?
Why do you believe that a shed must have a concrete foundation?
Well, that's what I thought in order to be taxed. And I may be incorrect. I don't know.
I believe any structure, whether it is on a concrete foundation, and I'm not an expert in this, and I would have to refer to the card and maybe even the assessor's office to understand if there's a difference in the value of the shed with or without a concrete foundation?
It's movable, so that's a question, okay? And the other reason is the UI came behind all our properties there. Eversource knocked down all the trees, and this is my backyard. I cannot use my backyard. And, I moved my garden from down where the shed was to the side of my house, because who wants a garden right in front of the UI power station?
Understood.
Yep. So I'm asking the town, now, Eversource came in January and knocked all these trees down.
Understood.
Uh-huh.
So that's before and after.
Yep.
And I have those photos
You
here.
do.
All right, so I don't need to take your color copies.
Yep. And just to show you, here's the shed.
I see.
And there's the power. And
Right.
I don't know if the town will do anything. Not only that, we have Eversource here with these behind our yards, and they're a big eyesore.
All right. I understand what you're saying, and just to summarize, you are agreeing somewhat with the town's appraised value and your opinion of the fair market value to be almost the same.
Right, I am.
Okay.
I'm not challenging that.
And you would like the assessor's office to consider making changes to the value of your property based upon changes in conditions to the property and the fact that your shed does not have a concrete foundation.
And that may be correct. Maybe that's the town's laws, and that's fine. I'm just asking a question. Here's one more question, though.
Yes.
There's an easement on my property by Eversource. They came in and they knocked all those trees down. Am I being taxed on the line where the easement is with Eversource? Is that included in my taxes?
You are getting a 10% reduction on your land, I see, from the field card, the vision field card,
Yep,
which you can certainly print out. So you are getting a 10% reduction on your, because of the Northeast Utilities poles and wires. So that is being accounted for. And certainly you can speak to the assessor's office about any other indications on the card that might not be correct. So I understand, is there anything else that you wish to add to your file?
What I'd like for the assessor's office is to look at that 10% reduction and see if they could do any further. And the reason for that is Eversource came in, once again, removed all the trees, and now in order for me to replace the trees, which is a big expense,
certainly,
I have to bring it in more towards my property
yes,
and keep it more on my property line.
That is something that I would recommend that you speak to the assessor's office about, and that may have an effect on your market value that the town has appraised you at. So, and this is something that you might want to consider based upon what the next steps are. So let me share with you what the next steps are. I personally will be presenting your petition to a majority of the board. There are 9 members, so we will have to have 5 members to do our deliberations and voting. You will vote on your appeal, and you will be notified in mail, by mail, of the board's decision within 7 days. If your appeal is approved, you cannot come back for a period of 5 years.
All right.
If it is denied, you can come back next year. And all decisions will be made in March. And you will receive a letter within 7 days of the decision. If it's denied, you can come back next year. If it's approved or approved in part, you have to wait 5 more years. And if you disagree with the board's decision, your next steps would be to appeal our decision to the state court,
Yeah.
and instructions on how to do that will be included in your decision letter.
Okay. And just to let you know, because of what UI did and Eversource did to us, my neighbor down the street and myself has testified before the General Assembly and also the State Senate, because our complaint is you can't just come in and take our shading away from, build your substation here and leave it an eyesore, but you need to replace our shading. But I don't know how long that's going to take and whether it'll be for me or somebody else.
Could you please sign this document for me,
of course,
indicating your appearance and also that you have been sworn in?
Right here?
Yes, please.
Should I go to the assessor's office or should I just wait to see what happens?
It's up to you. I'll fill in the rest. That's fine. I did swear you in earlier, did I not? Or perhaps I didn't.
Okay.
My apologies. So,
yeah.
Pertaining to the information that we discussed in this hearing number 910, do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for listening to me.
Well, you provided good information. I will want to share with the board the information that you presented and see if your issues have been addressed by the appraiser's office on your property card.
Can I ask you one more question?
Certainly.
You said it's up to me to go to the assessor's office, but if it's denied, do I still have a chance to go down to the assessor?
Yes, but we won't review it again until next year.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But the assessor's office does have the ability to discuss with you the changes that you think should be considered.
Harold, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
All right. Thanks.
You can leave it open, please, for the next person.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where would you like that?
Closer to the phone would be preferred.
Sure.
My name is Harold Zawaski. I am one of the volunteers of the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Nice to meet you.
And nice to meet you,
and thanks
too.
for volunteering.
Yeah, thank you. This session is being recorded. The microphone is in this phone. And it's being recorded for the town record and also to be heard by the public in real time. So you can use your outside voices to speak towards the phone, please.
Sure.
Sure. Let me just catch up here. I'm afraid we don't have much opportunity to review the files until the hearing a minute, please. But let me start off by just verifying certain information we have. We're beginning this session at 10:52 a.m. But no worries, we'll give you full 15 minutes. I know we're starting a bit late. I apologize for that.
No problem at all.
The appeal number in question is 155. The property address is 240 Primrose Lane in Fairfield. The owner is Aaron and Sarah Martin. The town has your property valued at $625,100, and you believe the fair market value of your property as of October 1st, 2020 should be $470,000. Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, in hearing room number 1, and my name is Harold Zawaski. All right. I'm going to ask either of you to be sworn in, and there's a sheet of paper there. So if you don't mind, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. So please sign for your appearance and that you've been sworn in. That's great.
Nice.
I'll leave that there for the next person, actually. Never had cleaner hands in my life. That's great. So at this point, this is an opportunity for you folks to provide testimony as to why you believe the market value of your home on October 1st, 2020 should be $470,000 versus the town's appraised value of $625,100.
Okay, do you want me to go? Or?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, yeah. So we purchased our house on 7/29/2018 for $470,000. The house itself, the reason it was, I think, purchased for that amount was the condition of the house, inclusive of a lot of pretty much everything was original from 1976. And since we purchased it, we haven't made any real substantial improvements to the house, both between the bathrooms, the kitchen, and the exterior of the house itself. So we haven't made any big improvements to it since we purchased the house in 2018. Subsequently, the house across the street from us, 225 Primrose Lane, sold on 11/2/2020 for $448,000. And that house was in similar condition to ours, where it was in a property that existing condition was old and needed a lot of work. And I believe the fair market value was reflected in that sale price of this house that was directly across the street from us.
And could you specify the location of that house again that you think is comparable?
It is across the street to the right.
Do you have an address?
225 Primrose Lane.
Thank you.
We also want to note that one of the bathrooms in our property is not in functional or usable order. We have never been able to use it from the date of purchase. And the basement, contrary to what is listed online, is not finished. It is unfinished. I also want to point out that the home of 225 Primrose Lane that sold for less on November 2nd, 2020, that's across the street, has a larger square footage and does have working bathrooms.
So I do see on your property card that Do you have a basement?
Yeah, we have a
Correct.
basement. Yeah, it's a walkout basement, and it was
Walkout basement, yes. But unfinished?
Unfinished.
at this point it's unfinished. We had to take all the finishes out because of the age and condition of everything in there.
So that was a change that was made to you?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
there was
It was
an infestation of mice that have since been
removed.
eradicated and
Yes.
removed. But consequently, the insulation, the ceiling, the rug,
flooring. Yeah.
the flooring, and actually parts of the wall had to be removed as a result of the damage.
And it's the master bathroom that's not in working order at this point.
Oh, that's problematic.
Yeah, with 2 kids, for sure.
Yeah, everyone's sharing, but
So master bath is inoperable.
No, it's never been used by us.
yeah,
We can't use it.
the tile's falling off just due to the age.
And there's no sink. We also wanted to point out that it is our desire to improve the home. We have applied for several loans, equity lines, etc., but have been unable to secure a loan at a high enough valuation or value due to their appraisal. So when we purchased the home in 2018, they agreed with our purchase price of $470, and the bank agreed with that appraisal amount. And since trying to secure loans to improve the property, like fixing the basement, fixing the bathroom, we have been unable to secure a loan that would allow us to improve the property due to their appraisal evaluation. And my husband will run through that now.
So just to clarify, what we're saying is, based upon your purchase price of $470,000, when you are seeking to get a loan for making improvements, the loan companies are using that number, which you believe should be higher for purposes of securing a loan?
They
No,
did their own assessment.
They did their own assessment, and they did their own appraisal.
So
more than one financial institution has
Yeah.
not appraised our property above a certain amount. And my husband will run through those numbers now. So we're
I
saying
understand.
Yeah.
our bank appraised it at $470,
Yes.
and 2 financial institutions have not appraised it for what the town is saying it's been appraised at.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
Aaron will run through that now.
So we went to, several banks. We ended up basically moving the process forward in terms of providing all of our financial information, the information associated with the house to Citizens Bank and Discover Home Loans in order to obtain home equity lines of credit.
They also reviewed our credit score, which had absolutely no bearing on the appraisal amount
Yeah.
or how much they would give us. Our credit line, I believe, is above 775 for each of us. Is that correct?
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
think it's- I think
750.
yeah.
It's high, but basically what they ended up coming up with was that we had thought, based on what Fairfield told us, that we would be able to get a decent loan out of the house based on what your assessment was. So we started the process under that assumption, and we ended up, once Discover Home Loans and Citizens Bank did their independent appraisals, the Discover Home Loan came up with an appraisal for the house of $475,000. And then Citizens Bank came up with an appraisal for the house of $500,000.
And in 2018, the home appraisal with our bank that we got the mortgage with, which was Rocket Mortgage, evaluated the property for $470.
Yeah. And both this process, in terms of their appraisals, these emails are dated from Discover Home Loans of 1/23/2021, and from Citizens Bank, it's 2/8/2021. So this is recent correspondence. It's not years old.
Do I have that information?
Yes, those 2 emails are in that file.
Excellent.
So based on our inability to secure a home equity line or a loan due to the appraisal amount of 3 different financial institutions, as well as the purchase price property of 225 Primrose Lane across the street from us, we feel the appropriate appraisal for our property would be $470,000. We also want to point out that our home and 225 Primrose Lane did not sell immediately, and they did sit on the market for quite some time. So between the appraisals, sitting on the market,
Yes.
and the recent sale price of the home near us, and purchasing our home just not even 2.5 years ago, we feel an appropriate evaluation for our home would be $470,000.
Understood. Yes. And the board typically looks at the comps in terms of the sales date that is close to the October 1st, 2020. So it was appropriate for you to bring that information in, along with the other information to help support your case. Are there any other changes to the card that you would like to mention? You still have a generator, for example, and things of that nature?
Yep.
Okay. But the master bath issue is unresolved, and your basement is no longer a finished basement.
No,
Yeah.
not finished.
Those two things correct.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like we're gonna make the master bathroom work in the future. It's not like we want to remove a bathroom from the card.
But
We're gonna
Right.
fix it. It's just not.
We just
usable.
want it noted that it is not in working condition.
Right. And any changes to your property that require a permit?
Well,
will be listed.
Yeah.
Let me just say, will be listed on your card, and that can affect the value of your property based upon those improvements. So that will be taken into consideration as well. So is there anything else?
No, I mean, the one thing I think that would be on the card was the fact that we replaced the septic tank, and that was inspected by the town.
Okay. I'll make a note.
And that was a result of the septic tank cracking.
Yeah.
And we, of course, didn't want that leaking into Lake Mohegan.
No, that has to be taken care of,
Yeah.
I would assume. So let me explain the next steps.
Sure. Do you mind if I write down notes?
Not at all. Not at all. I have all of the information that you presented there in my file, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And I have your sworn-in statements.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Okay. So I will personally be presenting your petition to a majority of the board. We are 9 members, and we'll need a quorum of 5 to deliberate and consider for voting your appeal. You will be notified by mail within 7 days of our decision, and all deliberations will be completed in March. So you'll receive a letter within 7 days of our decision. If your appeal is granted in whole or in part, if a reduction is granted, you cannot come back for 5 years until the next revow period. If it is denied, you can come back next year. And if you disagree with the board's decision, your next step would be to appeal to the Superior Court in the state of Connecticut. All decisions are planned to be made, as I said, in March, and you will receive a letter of our decision within 7 days.
And what's the date of the meeting, I guess?
I'm sorry?
What is the date of the meeting?
We don't know at this time. We have over 600 appeals to work through, and we're scheduling the deliberations as quickly as we can, even interspersing them on days when we do hearings and do deliberations to try to keep up with our requirement, state statute, to complete in March. So it's hard to say. We're looking at possibly a way to post date ranges or something like that. But all of this information is recorded. It's going to be available online, and it's being listened to by fellow Fairfield citizens as we speak.
Great. Where specifically can we go online to look at the updated information?
If you go to the town's website for the Board of Assessment Appeals, you will find it there. I don't have the specifics.
That's okay. Thank you.
You can do a little digging.
Yep, no problem.
Or call the assessor's office and they can direct you to it.
Sure, I'll give it a shot on my own first.
Or you can email to the BAA at fairfieldct.org. which is the board's website, or email, I should say. Well, thank you for coming in and providing the information.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks you for your time.
And again, thanks for being a volunteer.
I know.
Not enough of you. Have a great day. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you for coming in.
Would you like the door open or closed?
You can leave it open for the next vote.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good, how are you?
Good. My name is Zawaski. Okay. And I apologize for late start, but you're my last hearing vote today, so we can go on as long as you like.
Oh, okay, well, hopefully it won't take that long, right?
No.
Okay.
We're allowing 15 minutes, but
Okay.
sometimes you get a little backed up. Take one of these seats, please,
Okay,
if you
sure.
don't mind.
Sure.
And as I said, we'll give you as much time as you need.
Okay.
Because this is the last hearing I have for this morning.
Okay. I don't know if you, this is to bring a copy of any detail information. I don't know if you want that.
Yeah, let me get to that in a
Okay.
moment, but just hold on to this for
Okay.
a minute.
Sure.
I want to just verify that we're talking about the correct property.
Yep.
We're starting this session at 11:09.
Yep.
Okay. The appeal number in question for this hearing is number 609. Is that correct?
It's a 607 appeal number.
I'm sorry. You are correct in correcting me. The appeal number is 607. Or 607. The property address is 234 Adley Road. You, the owner, are Sean Powers.
Mm-hmm.
The town has your property valued at $546,500.
Mm-hmm.
And you are appealing that amount because you believe that the market value of your property as of October 1st, 2020 should be $487,382.
Correct.
Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, and this is Harold Zawaski in hearing room number 1. That takes care of some of the details. So at this point, Mr. Powers, I'd like to swear you in, so if you wouldn't mind to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much. So if you could please sign that form that you've been sworn in and have appeared. I will take it and countersign it. That's Thank you very much. That's great. So, Mr. Powers, this is your opportunity to provide testimony as to why you believe your property value should be appraised at $487,382 versus what the town has it valued at $546,500.
Okay. So first off, I think the key piece here is that the property hasn't been upgraded in about 2 decades. So, there's some misinformation on the field card about when things have been done. And the home is kind of more, I would say, the finishes and updates that were done 2 decades ago are now end of life. So my approximation is $50,000 to $60,000 worth of work. If anyone was to step in, they would see that the bathrooms, kitchen, carpeting, wood floors, all that stuff would have to be done before it would get up to that market value of $546, which I think is a high value given some of the sales in the neighborhood, or at least within the neighborhood. So that's my first point. Going to some of the discrepancies, it's, I'm not sure how the information is necessarily gathered, but it mentions in the notes on the field card that the AC was upgraded and how hardwood floors were added in 2014, which is right before I bought the house, which is not correct. That was done. The AC upgrade was done in 2004, and I have documents from the house that show that it wasn't done 10 years after the home was updated. It was done at the same time, approximately the same time as they did the addition on the house. So I'm not sure why that was in the notes and how that factored into my assessment, but that certainly wasn't done recently. Same with the hardwood floors. They were not done in 2014, and it says per MLS, so
I believe it says 2004. I'm sorry.
It says 2014 here on the notes. Add hardwood floors and AC per MLS 2014. I guess you went into the MLS and said, oh, it shows that they updated the floors and the AC in 2014. That's what I'm reading. I'm just going by that.
Let me just check and make sure that we have the most current property card. One moment, please.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you to hold for a moment because I seem to have lost my screen here. One moment, please. But
no problem.
I apologize, and we have the full amount of time to do.
Take your time.
I'm going to pause this for a moment because I think I might need some technical assistance. Let me try this. Okay. No, I think we're back in business. Okay. Sorry for that. I just wanted to, as I said, pull up your card, and this is appeal number 607.
Do you work for the town?
No. The board is made up of, this year, 9 volunteers.
Okay.
We volunteer to act as, if you will, advocates for our fellow citizens in Fairfield, to conduct these hearings on their behalf, to collect information as to why the citizen feels that they are being assessed incorrectly. And then we meet with a quorum of our members, which is at least 5, later on in the month, to discuss and review the information that's presented and to either grant or deny the appeal that was submitted by the taxpayer.
Okay.
This year we have over 600 appeals. In a normal year we have about 120, 130.
I was not surprised because when I dropped off my form, the tables were set up and it was fairly crowded, so I kind of knew must be a different year, obviously.
It is obviously a different year due to the revaluation, and the setup is because of COVID and meeting the requirements and regulations there.
Okay.
So, I see what the issue is. Yes, you presented some comps.
I have comps. I have actual comps that.
And I was looking at the wrong card for you. I apologize. I was looking at cards that you submitted along with your.
Yeah, I have. I didn't know if that's because I didn't know when I submitted the appeal. I just put in why I thought, but I know when you get to the actual assessment, you have to pull in real hard evidence of what homes is sold for. So I actually have with me more backing evidence.
I will add to your file any additional information you wish to present.
Okay.
Okay. So I apologize for the delay, but I think we're on the correct property now.
Yeah. That's my house. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, getting back, you were talking about some of the discrepancies on the card, I believe.
There's a few. I'm just going to start with like I said, if you go into the notes, it says 2014 add hardwood floors and AC per MLS. So I can only go by that stating that around 2014, it's taking into account that recently how hardwood floors and AC, meaning a central AC unit, was added, and it wasn't added in 2004. It was added 10 years. I know the AC unit, for instance, was added approximately 10 years before that.
That was all. Excuse me. This is Harold. That was all before the purchase of your home. Anyway.
That was done. Yeah, I've done nothing to my home in 6 years.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah, it hasn't been updated. Not any major upgrades in 20 years. Most of the work was done, and if you look, it says 2002. It talks about fuse and the second edition. That was all done. Like I said, almost 2 decades ago. So there really hasn't been any major work done on it. And then the addition of the hardwood floors and AC were way before 2014.
And you purchased your house in February of 2015.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And the people that own the house gave me everything that they'd done to the house, and it wasn't a tremendous amount of upgrades. It was washer, dryer, that kind of stuff. So that clearly the house had been used, and a lot of the upgrades were done many years before they even purchased it. So just highlighting that, I felt that was taken into account incorrectly. The other thing I want to point out before we even go any much further, because I talked to the original the person who set up the appeal originally, and he didn't really understand what the impact would be. But you have the wrong zip code on this property, and I don't know how long it's been that way, but you have 06824. It's 06825, always has been, and everyone else, all the comps that I pulled are 06825. So I have no idea how that got there, but it's wrong, and obviously that's the wealthier part of town. The beach property, Greenfield Hill, different high schools, right? I mean, it has no bearing on my neighborhood, that zip code. It's the 06825, which we all know is not the wealthier part of town. So just want to highlight that mistake. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that your address at 234 Adley Road has a zip code of 06824, and you believe your correct zip code is 06825, and I don't know that changes your neighborhood code, which is neighborhood 85, neighborhood 80 code of 85. That is just where your mail gets delivered through that post office.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just highlighting that if anyone were to look and say, oh, you're on 06825. I mean, I've seen that before, right? Certain zip codes get, over time have gotten higher valuations, some lower. I know when I first bought the house, anyone in 06824, the beach area had lost value in the property, and people in 06825 got bumped up. That was pretty apparent from the map. So I'm just highlighting it's wrong. So
yes,
I don't know how it's taken into account. I'm just highlighting. Okay. The other thing I want to point out, and I don't know how, my neighborhood is where I live is very hard to kind of pinpoint how the town is doing comparables, but we have homes that are 70 years old that have never gone through an upgrade, that are ranches built originally for vets coming back. We have 3,800 square foot brand new mansions. I mean, it's all over the place. There's modern, there's colonial, there's really it's not uniform like some of the university area and some of the beach area where you have consistent colonials or consistent capes, whatever it might be. One of the things I do want to point out is my home is a slab foundation. There's no, it limits the buyer pool and it limits the value of the home, because a lot of people come in and they see that there's no basement. I can't compare myself to somebody that has 1,200 square foot basement and lots of storage and a finishable area to use for the children. A lot of people try to compare houses, but we're in that area of town where it's a lot of mixtures of slabs and basements. So I think that's something that always should be looked at when doing comparables, whether or not my value is the same as a guy 2 streets over who has a full basement. I don't know if you want me to stop there or do you want me to keep going?
No, please go. I am listening. I'm just calculating something here.
Okay.
But please go ahead.
Okay. The only other parts I wanted to talk about were just recent comps. I pulled 4 bedrooms, similar square footage. Again, these places have basements, I believe, so it's hard to get to the full picture in terms of value. But I have two comparables that sold within, I guess, October of 2020, which was a few months before the valuation was done. And they're in some cases bigger than my property, and extra bath, and they're in the 480 range, the 490 range. So I don't know if you want me to give you that information now, but that's the comps that I'm seeing. So I'll hand that.
Yes, I'll take those.
Okay, they're there.
Add it to your file.
Yeah, and that's just my notes too that I'm reviewing. Those are the comps that I when I talk about my value of my house, I think I need work done. It's not a brand new house. It hasn't been upgraded. That 546 I would think would be at the high end if the house was newly updated, but it's not, and I think that's why my valuation is much higher. And if I look around the block, I've noticed a few things, like a house, 3 doors down, 338 Adley. I'm just pointing out that 4 bed, 3 bath, in-ground pool. They actually have 2-car garage. They have 450 square feet more square feet than me, and they're paying like $230 a square foot from a tax perspective. I'm paying $258. It just doesn't make much sense to me how a bigger house with a 2-car garage with the same beds and baths 2 doors down could be paying less in square footage. I guess what you guys are considering the condition of the property, you're overvaluing mine compared to somebody that I think is very similar in terms of the house. So I'm noting that, and then also noting the the house right next to me, I know it's been a crazy year, and I know with the COVID, people have been leaving the city, and the timing of this evaluation is a little funny because, I can point out that my neighbor next door, 214 Adley, guy bought the house at the same time as I bought mine, maybe within 4 or 5 months. He bought in end of 2014. He paid $880,000 for it. It's a new construction, and he sold it a year ago, or right before the COVID hit, for $835,000. He lost between updates. I mean, you could go to the court. He put in at least $40,000 or $50,000 in the place. He lost easily $100,000 on the house. Okay. So now we're saying that your evaluation's gone up a lot more. It just doesn't point to that. I don't know. A year. January 2020, they sold this house for $835,000. It's right next door to me, and it was a new construction house. So property values were not going up in this neighborhood. They were heading south for a number of years. The sales price of that a year ago shows that, and that's right next to me. Now other houses, a little harder to kind of, like I said, to get the complete comp, but I pulled what I can, and I think it's in that file, just showing improvements, houses that have been upgraded, that are paying kind of a less taxes, I would say, for the amount of space they have and the condition of the property.
Okay. Mr. Powers, just looking at your property card, just want to understand. So I'm going to pull out some numbers from the record card. Previously, you were assessed at $36,000. $367,570.
Right.
As assessed value. And as you may understand, if we divide that number by 0.7, that gives us what the appraised value was at that time too. Okay. Did you go to an informal hearing, or did you attend an informal hearing with the reassessment company?
No, I mean, I just had a phone call. I had a phone call originally. I called the number, and they took the information, and then they sent me an update.
Did they make a change?
I think they might have lowered it a little bit. I actually don't have that in front of me right now.
I don't see that they did.
Okay, maybe they didn't. Yeah, I can't recall. I didn't bring that form with me, but I don't think there really was a change. That's why I proceeded.
All right. Oh, okay. So if I look at the assessed value in 2019 to what the current assessed value is, it's approximately $15,000. You agree?
Yep.
So if I take the current assessed value of $382,550, I divide that by 0.7, I come up with an appraised value of what is shown on the card, $546,500, and that's what you come to the hearing to dispute. Okay.
Yep.
You paid for the house $575.
All right.
And yet, and this is not meant as a judgment, just for clarification, but now you feel that the fair market value, if you were to sell the house as of October 1st, 2020, the fair market value you feel would be $487,382.
Correct.
And you've come up with that conclusion based upon several comparisons that you've put in the file.
True, and the condition of the property, which I'm saying is 50 to 60,000, and the market. One of the things that I want to mention is when I first moved in 2015, the last reval was done, right? So I didn't even have a chance before I bought the property to even understand what was going on. Before I knew it, I got my next tax bill that year. My taxes went up $1,200 in 1 year. Okay, and that was based on, like I said, this assessment that the beach area got hit and by Sandy, whatever it was, and the values were lower, and then my taxes went up like 10% in 1 year. So that 367 doesn't take into account that the first year it went up, 10%, right? So now I'm going up another 7, 8, whatever it is, 7, 8%, I don't know. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, over 6 years, my taxes have increased dramatically in my mind. It was 80. I think it was when I purchased the house, it was $8,500 for the taxes, and then the next year is 95, and now I'm at, I think I'm going to go to 10, 5, or 11. I don't know. I'm trying to calculate what it'll be based on I know I can't do that on the mill rate yet, but it's going to come, and it's going to be, a significant bump up. And I just don't see that, the amount of work that needs to be done on the property to get it to that 546. I just think, looking around at the sales, sure, there's been a bump up in sales, but those are newer, updated properties, right? And some of the card information is incorrect here. So I'm just saying, if someone were to walk in my house, they wouldn't say, oh, look, this brand new, new kitchen, new bath, new carpeting, right? That's $50,000, $60,000 worth of work they would have seen. I'm just pointing that out, and it's not in the rate card accurately.
Understood. The other information you have here is correct. The second story was added prior to your purchase,
2010,
and there is an in-ground pool
that
was installed prior to your purchase,
which needs
some tender loving.
cracks everywhere. It hasn't been replaced in 20-something years.
Understood.
That's another probably $20,000 worth of masonry work.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. Okay, anything else you want me to add to the file?
No, I think that's it. I've, tried to do the best I can here, and I appreciate you listening to me. And
well, we're trying to help our fellow taxpayers in Fairfield to get a fair shake. And
I'll just say it's for us, COVID and what's happened, just the timing of the reval, just so, I think it's hurting people, right? Because, like I said, a year ago the market was different. Connecticut wasn't growing in terms of, pricing. It was very slow in a lot of areas, especially in our area. And then all of a sudden COVID hit, and everyone ran out of Westchester and New York City, and they're bidding up properties, and you do the reval. It's like, well, wait a second, right? This. I'm afraid that what's going to happen is this is a temporary. Rates go up. All these things are happening. The Federal Reserve's printing money like crazy, giving it out to people, giving stimulus money. All this is driving up real estate, but is it sustainable, right? And we're paying taxes based on the sustainability. We're saying this is sustainable, and I'm of the mindset that this was a temporary bump, and we're kind of getting hit at a tough time.
Yes, and that is an opinion that's commonly held, and but nobody knows what the future will bring. I speak to realtors, and I understand that in Fairfield today there's approximately 80 properties for sale in total in all of the whole town. So, that's resulting in competitive bidding and prices escalating at a rate that maybe we have not seen in the recent future. So, recent past, I should say. Excuse me. So, who knows what the future will bring? But you provided good information to help support your case, and the next steps will be that I will be presenting your petition to a majority of the board. There are 9 members, so we'll need at least 5 to deliberate. And you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision within 7 days of our vote and decision. All decisions will be made in March, and so you'll receive a letter in March, presumably maybe the first few days of April, depending on the mails. If your appeal is denied, then you can reappeal next year. If it is approved or granted in full or in part, you cannot come back for 5 years until the next reevaluation. If you disagree with the findings of the board, your next step would be to appeal your decision in court, and instructions how to appeal in court will be in your decision letter. Any questions for me, sir?
No. So just to be clear, you're going to take away the information I gave, you'll review with a quorum, and then it sounds like in the next couple of weeks I'll get either an approval or a denial. Is there a partial approval?
Yes.
Could they come back and say, well, you're saying 47, we're going to say this?
Yes. The board does have the authority to grant a partial, but in the case of any granting of in full or in part, then your valuation is set for the next 5 years until the next revaluation period.
But if it's denied, I can come back next year?
If it's denied, you have the right to come back each year after a denial, yes.
Okay. And one question, since COVID, and obviously there's been changes, no one's even aware of what some of the changes might be. I can tell you the one thing they mentioned on the town site is that they're going to come into your house and look at it. They didn't do that, right? They just came by and took a picture of your house.
Yes,
right?
it's my understanding from the assessor that a more thorough inspection is done every 10 years.
Okay.
And this being after 5 years after the last reevaluation period, the home inspections were not done in person, the interior of the homes, and outside measurements were utilized. I believe, and you can check this with the assessor's office, that if you wish to request an in-home inspection to consider changes that you have that should be reflected on your property card, you can request that from the assessor's office.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. As long as this wasn't the 10 year where they should have done it and they didn't do it because of COVID. We're saying that it wasn't due to do the more.
That's my understanding. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other rule changes or anything that's happened that people should be aware of just going into this process? I don't know. I'm just obviously it's been a strange year, so I don't know. If there's anything I need to know that's not listed on the town site.
No, all public records and information is to be found on the town site. The revaluation was done by a revaluation company that I believe you had been in contact with, and they did take into consideration certain changes from previous years that affected the valuations of properties across the town. In the various neighborhoods, taking into consideration changes that were made in those neighborhoods. And that's how they came up in conjunction with the assessor's office with the new reevaluation numbers.
Okay.
And that's why we have 650 appeals from fellow taxpayers to hear this year.
Amazing.
So we're doing what we can.
Well, we appreciate your volunteer expertise here. I know it's not easy. But
no,
it's not easy for anybody, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
We're just citizens like you, various backgrounds. We have teachers, we have lawyers, we have business people, we have some real estate people, we have IT people such as myself who don't have all the same experience in real estate. But we are considering this as equals, equal taxpayers, and we take into consideration the information that's provided and make our judgments accordingly.
Okay. You live in Fairfield too?
Of course, yes. All members of the board are Fairfield residents, are Fairfield taxpayers.
Okay.
And as I say, we're volunteers and we are representatives for the town and for the taxpayers to conduct these hearings and further on to do our deliberations and vote on the appeal petitions.
Okay.
Trying to say it as correctly as I can.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I've never been through this process, so again, I appreciate it. I don't know the ins and outs, and
we're through the process because we do it every 15 minutes.
I know. Like a quick round, right? Like in a game show or something, right? You present your case, and move along.
Well, that's what we're doing. Give everybody an equal opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Enjoy the
Thanks,
rest of
Harold, I
your day.
appreciate it. Thanks for your
Thank
help.
you.
Okay, take care.
The time in hearing room number 1 is 11:42 a.m. on March the 9th, 2021, and this hearing session is now concluded.